Well, I got on a little bit early, so I'll give it a few more minutes. Make sure everybody's on board and everything. If y'all are going to join, so bear with me. I'm just kind of working through some stuff, just trying to make sure that we got everything. Oh, it is automatic. I did not know that, so let's fix that problem. Let me make sure that that's okay because I don't want that stuff to happen. Okay, I think I got it. That was weird. So just to kind of start it all off, though, if you are watching a recording of this, rather than the live stream, you're definitely going to want to fast forward it. It's probably going to be about the 3 to 4 minute mark where you're going to want to really kick into gear and actually like watch it. I'm only staying on a little bit early just so that people can be, getting on and whatnot. So in any case, if you are interested in, watching the whole thing, definitely make sure that you go to like the 3 to 4 minute mark, give or take a minute or so. And then go ahead and take care of that. You should be able to see on your screen at least the QR code. So it may be worth your time to go ahead and scan that at the very least and go ahead and get that taken care of. So we're going to get started in about 2 more minutes. We're going to start in about 1 minute. All right. So I know there's only like one on the call for now, but I am recording it. So You can watch it in like real time, so that way you can get an idea of everything, and then you don't have to watch a recording. But if you want to ask questions, you can. You can unmute your mic and ask questions, or you could go ahead and type it in the chat box, or you can send me an email when we're done. You have plenty of choices, but in any case, I am recording this because it's a weird time, 3:30 in the afternoon, but it's kind of what I had available. So, in any case, just kind of welcoming you. This is a information session for really to potentially travel. So, in any case, the one thing about this is it is for, and I'm not keeping it up on the screen for deliberately, but most study abroad programs are like full semester programs, and this is actually only like a week. Yeah, so it kind of gives you a taste of it. It doesn't really give you the full blown effect, but it gives you definitely a taste of the whole concept. So, any case, so today what we're going to hit, I'm going to go through a little bit of my travel story and why this is interesting to me. Where we're going, when we're going, the company itself that sponsors this, safety and protection, some details, and how to enroll. Okay, so again, if you want to ask your questions now, I'll try to preempt them, but otherwise you can ask your questions in the chat box, unmute your mic, or go ahead and send me an email. So my name is Martin Hubner. If you got the email from me, odds are you probably are in one of my classes. I teach business law, principles of management, introduction to business, customer service, and principles of marketing for now. So much of my background is in customer service and marketing. I got an MBA from Liberty University in 2019. Yeah, 2019. I also have a Master of Science from Appalachian in exercise science. So, 2 graduate degrees, yay. But in any case, so that's, kind of the long and short of it. The exercise science degree definitely propelled my interest in the business side of things. So working in training, personal training, and then meeting a whole bunch of different people from all walks of life allowed for me to be able to get to really where I'm, how I am today. So in any case, so traveling is interesting, because, the world is interesting, just to say that. There are places throughout the world that are fairly tumultuous that I honestly wouldn't take anybody, including myself, to. Like some parts of the Middle East, Afghanistan, Ukraine. But in any case, my travel experience, well, I'm not there yet. I think it's important because it gives you a perspective of how the world operates. Okay. I think to some extent in the US, we live in a bubble, and that bubble doesn't necessarily allow for us to really understand how the rest of the world operates. So that's why I think it's really important that we even get a glimpse abroad. And it's an interesting endeavor altogether to travel abroad and to experience other cultures. My travel experience has largely been military. So, I don't announce that to too many people that I'm, formerly active duty. But I started traveling abroad when I was 19 years old. Started traveling when I was like 17, but started traveling abroad when I was 19. And unlike the most traditional routes, with like passports and customs and all that stuff, mine was straight up warfare. So a little bit different scenario, but I think those experiences have helped me kind of perceptualize like how our culture in the US is, and like, how much some other ones really just aren't that great. So as far as the countries I've been to Spain, Italy, Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, Guam. That's really a U.S. territory. What is that other one? I've been to Indonesia. I've been to Australia. I had to think why I couldn't think of that one. And that's off the top of my head. I think that's for the most part. Like I've been, more stateside, but those are the countries that I've been overseas. So, basically, to give you an idea again, I said I started all that stuff when I was about 19. Domestically traveling more when I was like 17 when I went to boot camp, but I'm 39 now, so it's been, for the better part of the last 29 years. All right, so why are we even looking at this? Okay, so honestly, this gives, for some of you, this may give you something to look forward to. Okay, You always got plans, and honestly, like looking at different assignments and everything, it's like, how do you conceptualize this in a real world atmosphere? So I'm gonna give you that. The world is different, than ever before. We're very interconnected in a lot of ways, and then we're also like isolated in others. So it allows for you to reconnect, lets you get to know groups and have a lot of soft skills, in addition to kind of seeing what the world has to offer on a business front in this case. For this program, there are smaller payments that you can make, so it's not like you're spending a whole bunch of money in one shot. You can make small payments. You can do and I'll get to all that at the end, but there's a lot of scholarship opportunities, financial aid that you can use. I mean, there's definitely some, ways that if you wanted to make this a reality, we can make this a reality. And then honestly, if you've just ever wanted to travel overseas, you can. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that you may never get a chance at this again, but you might, it's hard to say. Like everybody's different. When I got out of college, I went to UNCW, so really the only couple of trips that I went to while I was there is California. When I came up for graduate school to Appalachian, I went nowhere because like I literally didn't have any time. And then after I graduated, we went some places domestically, but for the most part, it's been forever at this point, like 11 years since I graduated from Appalachian. And, international trips have been very interesting because of all the world activities. So, in any case, I think this is a good opportunity for everybody. All right. So, some of the interesting parts about the program itself is, there's a direct impact on GPA. Not everybody cares about it, GPA. I will admit that I am one that does. And the reason I say that is because of the way my personality tends to go. Like, it's weird because like I'm in a doctoral program, and even obviously like two masters, or like GPA was a big deal, and I don't know why, but that's just in my mindset. Typically, you'll see your GPA rise because you sort of develop an appreciation for other cultures and other areas, and just kind of more of the research suggests that your GPA will go up. So that's cool, but honestly, not every job even cares about your GPA. Resume building. So most employers, like international work, okay? And you can plug this in on a resume. And it's 92% of employers are looking for skills and traits that students develop in study abroad programs. Okay? And this could be like soft skills, it can be like leadership, stuff like that, time management, but ultimately these are soft skills that you can put into a resume that companies are looking for at this moment. Job security, 93% of students who study abroad and enter the workforce were employed within 6 months of graduation, compared to almost half that didn't. So it's a substantial number when you're looking at it, job security, again, soft skills and whatnot. It also allows for you to really be able to interact and adapt comparatively to those that don't do it. And then salary, students that travel tend to have higher salaries than those that don't. Again, you're kind of more willing to take risks, than average. So I'll give you an example. Like my wife has very seldomly ever traveled. Like she travels more domestically, but out of the country, like never, except maybe Canada. I don't know. But in any case, like she's got a pretty good job, but it's taken her a long time to get to that point. And part of that is her worldwide perspective is radically different than mine. She is I would say, conservative one when it comes to risk taking compared to my much more aggressive approach. Um, but in any case, so when the salary comes, I, work different jobs and whatever, and I make more money. So in any case, I think, all of this plays, it's like a chain reaction effect. Like it gives you soft skills a little bit more so than other things. It by extension, it gives you additional job security and a willingness to take a little bit more risk. So development of critical skills, confidence, curiosity, empathy, self-awareness, all of these are basically soft skills. Okay. Confidence, curiosity, empathy, so some of these are really good management skills like empathy, cultural knowledge, and adaptability, leadership. Some of these are not. Like it just kind of depends. But, as the country and the industries within the country are becoming more and more globally connected, I think it's really important that you develop some of these things. And again, like if you're going with a group of people, like your peers, confidence is there. If you are interested in going, then obviously there's a curiosity, stuff like that. International exposure outside the U.S. builds stronger connections built between classmates, locations, and the world that helps you make a global citizen. And some people care about this, some people not. I think it's a matter of, like I said, my experience, being in like a lot of different cultures throughout the world is very interesting. Because you got like Spanish and Italian culture was very similar. It's like that Latin based thing. And ultimately, while there's nothing wrong with that, it's a radically different culture. Whereas Australia was more of a UK based. They still acknowledge now the king was the queen, as their sovereign. And then, you get all the other countries like the Middle East, and it's a whole different culture shock altogether. It's also the trip of a lifetime. Some of you may never get a shot at this again, unless you're really willing to take that risk. And it's hard to say. I gave you my example of like, my life since I've gotten through college and everything, and it's not that often that I get a shot at this. So I know, in your case, it may be the exact same thing. If you got kids, if you got jobs, whatever, this may be the chance that you get. All right. So what are we doing? Okay. So if you've read the email several times, we are going to London. Okay. London is a financial hub of the world. Okay? I mean, New York is a big one, Charlotte's a big one, but London is like an international wise, pretty big. Okay, so right now, London obviously being like headstrong in the news and everything, you're going to see, some landmarks like this is the London Bridge. Took me a second. This is sad. The London Bridge, and there's a lot of landmarks and everything. And if you think about it, if you travel throughout the U.S., especially to some of your colonial cities like Wilmington, Charleston, and whatnot, like those cities are only several hundred years old. London is like 1,000. Totally different atmosphere. Wars have been fought. Like it is crazy different when you compare it to like some of the older cities we have here. So places that we're going to go: Westminster, okay, St. Paul's Cathedral. That's one of the biggest ones in the world. Buckingham Palace. Again, that one's super popular right now because the Queen, or now the King, whatever. And Big Ben. Okay, so those are some of the things that we're going to do. And we're going to actually travel the countryside. So bear with me. My phone just decided to go off. So maybe I pushed the right button. Okay. So in any case, sorry about that, but we're going to check, and regardless of what your opinion is, like religion wise or whatever, like it is historical. We're going to look at it from a historical context there. Some other stuff, we're going to take guided tour of London. So like, we don't have to walk around and wander aimlessly. We're going to see Big Ben, Parliament. So we'll see the governmental aspects of it all. We're going to see it. I mean, this is where we got to tie it into like education stuff, but we're going to do business themed lecture in London. We're going to visit a local English company, business themed walking tour of the financial district, an evening theater performance, and enjoying the local food as best we can. Some of it's really good. Some of it, it's questionable. The British are not necessarily known for their cuisine comparatively to the French. So in any case, that's what you get to work with here. So we're going to be doing a lot of different things, but we're going to have a lot of resources available to us. And you can see like just some of this stuff here, like there's tons of stuff to do. And if you're into like sci-fi stuff and whatnot, like, several years back I haven't watched it in a long time, but Doctor Who, so you can see some of those landmarks. I'm currently watching The Sandman and I'm seeing, like some of those landmarks. So I think it's really cool that you can see some of these things, especially if you're into that kind of stuff. If you're not, that's cool too. Like, again, it's one of the oldest, it's one of the oldest cities in the world, and one of the oldest ongoing cities in the world. And I think it's really cool to see that. Okay. So that's a brief summary. Well, before I get into that, that's a brief summary of what we're going to be doing as far as a like the tour, the things are. Some of the details, like local English company, business theme lecture, as we approach that point, we will have more conversations about that to get a better definitive idea of what exactly we'll be doing. Like if most of us are not interested in banking, we may not go see that kind of thing, right? So, so some of that is a little vague right now because there's got to be a little bit more lock in at that point. But in any case, London, Big Ben, and Parliament, all of that is going to take place as a result of this. So the company is called Education First, or EF. Okay, so you may have seen it in some of the links that I've sent out. But basically, they do more than 1 million student experiences a year. So over 1 million students throughout the country get to go every single year. Okay, which is really kind of good, when you look at historical precedents. They have over 55 years of experience. So again, it's kind of a big deal when you're looking at, being able to get smooth sailing and things to work with. London is only one of the places that they offer tours to. I actually chose London because if you've never traveled outside of the country, some of these other places are a little bit of a culture shock. Like I would love to go to Tokyo. However, that's because I'm really interested in Japanese culture and stuff like that. However, if you're not that much of a risk taker or you're not sure yet, that's probably a high risk endeavor. As far as your mindset. So I figured London was a little bit safer in terms of that part of it. They organize all travel logistics and details for an all-inclusive experience. Expert in safety, experiential learning, and building incredible study abroad programs. They got some COVID restrictions and stuff like that. Sustainability and accessibility. So, what we're going to have when we go, and simplify some of this, we'll have a 24/7 personal tour director. Okay, so we don't have to Google Map everything. We're going to have a British guy or girl that's going to walk us all around. Local presence and safety teams in country. So if anything happens while we're on the ground, we'll have a safety net. Okay, 24-hour response, emergency line, real-time incident response, enhanced safety measures and protocols to align with COVID standards. And that one is weird because that one changes. So keep in mind, it's a little bit weird. A peace of mind policy included for all travelers and additional support and safety policies. The peace of mind one's interesting because you pay like a deposit, and then ultimately you have up until 1 month before departure. If you want to back out of it completely, you get a full refund. Okay. So the good part is you're not like you're committed, but you're not. Like if something comes up at that point, like you can back out and you get a full refund. It's not like a partial. It is 100%. It is good to go. So, that's one thing that I liked about it is because, like if it's anything, you never know what's going to actually happen, especially if you got like older relatives or, hospitals, whatever. But just know like you don't have to you can commit and then you have really up until a month out to back out of it if you need to. Okay. There's global travel protection plans that cover individual circumstances that arise while on the program. So illness, loss of job, flight delays, lost baggage. Um, the Global Protection Plus, which I think is a little bit of an extra fee, you have until a day before departure to do all that. So again, it's kind of a big deal. Like when you, in the grand scheme of things, like you want to make sure that you have, be able to get out of stuff because honestly, like to give you an idea, it's going to be early March 2024. We are right now in September 2022. So we have a year and a half about before this thing even flies. So part of the reason is because to give people plenty of time, to pay for it, especially if they do like a monthly thing. So that way you're not like stressing about money. And then we can look at other circumstances, like other ways to make money. All right. So what's included? Round trip airfare, hotel room, I'd say bilingual tour director, but we're going to England and they speak English there. Transportation while abroad. Thoughtfully designed cultural and academic itinerary, guided experience, entrances, and activities. We have breakfast and dinners for the most part covered. Lunches, not so much. So if you're like me and you eat all the time, that could become problematic. Like I eat seriously so much. It's kind of awesome. But in any case, that's what I get doing. 24/7 emergency support line, help with travel prep and funding. The only things that we actually need to cover would be like passport and visa fees. So if you don't have a passport, like I don't have a passport, I have to get one. Airport baggage fees, and this would be like anything extra over the normal stuff. Lunches and snacks. So again, if you're like me and you eat a lot, you kind of got to pay for lunch. And also England's got a little bit of different rules on, other types of consumption. So we got to, we'll do our homework and check that out too. That could be a big deal. Personal spending money, so if you want to buy some souvenirs for yourself, for your friends, whatever, you got to have that. And there's going to be tips. I think it's $7 a day for the tour director. Okay. And that's how they make money too. So you got to take it into business consideration. Like they got to make it to, yeah. So in any case, this is all included. This is a little extra at the end. but airfare, hotel rooms, pretty much everything's covered, breakfasts and dinners, which is pretty awesome. Yeah. Enroll now. You can cancel for any reason within 30 days and receive a full refund. So for the most part, like I said, if you do it now, you get a pretty good deal. Like you don't have to worry about it. Because it has to be like at least 120 days prior to departure, and this is like almost 18 months. So I think we hit the cutoff for sure. But in any case, it's really important, like that. I think you guys have an exit strategy as well in the event that that time comes and like your anxiety is like skyrocketing or whatever you got to do. But I think it's important. So, we got that. When are we traveling? So we have requested departure for March 5th, 2024. Come back on the 11th, 2024. So basically, the first and the last day will be spent flying mostly. And then the rest of it will be, you know, like stuff, like doing stuff. And depending on what program that you're in at that point, or classes, you may be able to get, some credit for stuff. So it's important. But you can see down here they confirm the exact dates, 2 to 3 months prior to departure. Because like right now, trying to plan for this nearly a year and a half out, airlines aren't even that far out. So we gotta do what we can do. Okay. Apparently there's animations in this. Okay. So the one thing that I will say, in the grand scheme of things, you're going to look at these numbers and potentially freak out because I know I did. The good part is this deposit, huge. Okay. You put that deposit down and that locks you in, right? If you were to go with a monthly, it's $240 a month, less than your average car payment. Okay. If you want to pay in full, it's $40.79. If you're over 30, you got to add $300 because you can't share rooms for whatever reason. Like that's kind of how it works. So everything in between that. Okay. Now, with that being said, I think you have until October 1st, and we're going to knock $300 off of it. They knock $300 off of it. So instead, so it's still $95 deposit, 109 a month, or 217 a month, so just north of 200, or 37.79. Again, if you're over 30, 40.79. So it's the original price, but if you're over 30, okay. So that's what I wanted to show you. So diversity, finance, and merit-based scholarships, they only offer 24 scholarships a year. Okay. You can potentially apply for it, so that's fun. You can also do a personal program donation page. So if you have a pretty good following on Instagram, Facebook, or all these other social channels, my strategy would be, let's say you have several thousand followers. Let's say you're really popular. Okay. Ask them all for $1. That's all you need. Most people give $1. It's pretty easy. And then automatic access, right? So it's kind of like GoFundMe. So you can do that. There's also budgeting and financial resources. So it's more than just that. You can apply for grants. So like, I don't know if you've ever taken advantage of financial aid. A lot of times we perceive financial aid as loans, which is not completely false. However, financial aid also encompasses grants. Okay? And grants are monies you don't have to pay back. So you might be able to offset some of the cost through grants. If you want to take out a loan, this is where it's slightly controversial. I will tell you what you potentially can do. And the reason I say that is because, like, for example, they recently passed like what $10,000 student loan forgiveness thing. Obviously, this is less than that. And if you're here at Caldwell Community College, then it's a lot cheaper than that. So it may be beneficial, but I'm not going to say yay or nay on doing that. That is entirely up to you and your family's decision making.
Hey,
Okay.
I have some for you.
Yeah, what's up?
Sorry, I've got to get on another Zoom call at 4, but I appreciate all your information. Do you have to be enrolled full time at Caldwell when this occurs in spring of 2024, or can you just be taking one class?
You do not have to be enrolled full time. You could take one class. You could be like in a like a what's the word, like a little like a gap period where you're not taking any classes.
Okay, as long as you're like basically a student at
Yeah,
some point that
yeah,
year.
pretty much.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I've like changed my plans with Caldwell, my program, and I may just be in 1 or 2 classes that spring, but it's so far off that I'm not exactly sure yet. So
Yeah, and honestly, our schedule for the college isn't even built that far out yet. So
yeah.
Yeah, so you got plenty of opportunities, like you've got plenty of time. If you're gonna have like a gap period, if you're a part-time student, full-time student, if you're, whatever variation of this you want, you can be,
Yeah.
it can.
Cool. Okay. And you answered my other question about age because I am an older student. So, but your last two slides answered that. And
Yeah,
then,
it's kind of disappointing that it's, if you're older than 30, you got to pay a little bit more, but I kind of get it.
yeah, it
But
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
And also I laughed when you were talking about the food, the lunch thing. That was funny.
Well, thank you.
Right there with you.
Yeah, British food is interesting. That's all I got.
Yeah.
But
That's,
it could be worse. It would be like Japanese where you're eating like a live squid.
what was that? What did you say?
Like if you're in Japan, you could be eating like a live squid or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little bit, more normal than that.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
More,
but yeah,
more something we're accustomed to.
yes. If you have any other questions, let me know. But I think I only got like one or two slides left for sure. So I will
Okay.
definitely highlight these.
I'll definitely use your recording too for reference for information because I didn't write anything down, but I really
Okay.
appreciate it. Thank you so much and looking forward to your class later this
All right.
semester.
Thank you.
See ya.
Yep. Okay. So just some last minute things. So you got some of that out there. So yes, that question. If you have any specific questions related to you, please shoot me an email. That's going to be the easiest way. All of you that have, that have gotten the link to this, and I only had one participant, you'll have my email. Makes it easy. You just reply. You can go to this. You can go to the QR code. You got a little bit of things. That $300 off. You basically only have like 8 more days. So, I put this together kind of a last second. At least to get that deposit in, and that locks you into that that cost reduction. So even if you only pay the $95 and then you're like, you know what, I don't want to do this. You back out. You still get the $95 back. But if you do want to do this, you get that $300 discount, and I think that really helps. Okay, so that's your call. But if you have questions about that, please let me know. I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Let's see. Do I have it? So in any case, thank you. For if you've watched this as a recording, thank you. Okay. So in any case, we got a lot of things, but if you want some resources, I think I've sent out for some of y'all, I've sent out a link to the main site. Some of you haven't, but the QR code should help you get a better idea. And for those of you that want some further information, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and you can find that. Okay. So again, if you have, we're done. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. You can call my office, shoot me an email, whatever, whatever you got to do. You can come by. That's cool too. So in any case, hopefully you've learned something. Hopefully you're interested. But definitely today's the 22nd that I'm recording this. You have until the 30th to lock in that rate, and all you got to do is the deposit, like $95. All right. Thank you for your time. And if you have questions, let me know.